Hi everybody. So today I want to talk about um, overeating. And overeating, I think, is such a common, let's say, issue, even though it's not an issue, but like a common thing that a lot of people share, and especially those days, a lot of people have. I'm currently drinking my smoothie straight from the jar because I'm living in a house right now where I don't really want to use the kitchen. So my kitchen basically is in my room and it's my blender, and I just use the kitchen to cook my rice and lentils basically. Anyway, talking about food, I think overeating is such an important thing to be looked at in depth because it's a thing that is misunderstood, and it's very important to understand what is overeating. So I am talking like most of the things that are on my channel. I am talking for personal experience and personal things that I've been through. um, I'm gonna talk about my situation, so maybe some of you can relate, but I basically is the same shit for everybody. Overeating is something is a escape mechanism, is a coping mechanism, and you can do it for so many different reasons. For example, my reason was when I felt I was in a relationship for 7 years, six years, and in the relationship I felt very constricted and I didn't know who I was. So it was also personal issues and ways to find myself. And I didn't know who I was, and I felt constricted, not because the other person was constricting me, but because of my own mind. And I felt I couldn't be myself, and I didn't know who I was. I didn't listen to any of my feelings, and I let other people to dictate how I was supposed to feel or how I was supposed to interact with other people. Or I was very insecure of myself because I didn't know who I was. And so I would let other people to tell me what should I do or how I should behave in certain situations. And but now that I understand my truth, is completely different. So I want to say that one of the biggest thing with overeating, which is a coping mechanism that can be compared to smoking or using drugs or addictive sex or watching porns or masturbating for reasons that are not, how can I say this, for like doing it in indulging kind of ways, in a destructive ways. All of these things are pretty much the same things, but they or drinking or going out clubbing where you don't really want to go out, or the inability to say no when you don't want to do something, or all of those things have the same thing is common, that is a coping mechanism. And the best thing, first thing that you can do is first stop resistance. And to stop resistance you need to be aware. So you need to be aware, first of all, that you are doing it, that it's a coping mechanism. And I think with overeating, I think it's easier to address and to know when you are doing it because you're actually hungry, or you are doing it as a coping mechanism. And I am gonna explain without confusing everyone. I am gonna explain my own situation and my own personal experience. which was, for example, okay, I'm gonna do like a very recent experience. Sorry, I'm super thirsty and I need to hydrate because I'm coming out of a burn out from my job that I just left and it feels so good. Okay, so let's talk about this job that I was doing. I'm here in Spain right now, and the working conditions here are really, really bad. That's the reality. And so my schedule, my day, my week schedule would be, I get paid shit money for what I do, and I would work 6 days a week between 8.5 and 9 hours a day, plus all the traveling to work. So my biggest thing was my huge frustration. So I felt so frustrated and I felt abused, because that's abused, and I was super tired and I couldn't get my body to recover, because I was working so hard and the conditions of the kitchen were no ventilation because it was a new kitchen still under construction, but we are working in the kitchen, and actually I was working in the kitchen, and it was just crazy. So all of this made me feel so angry and so frustrated, and I kept all of this inside because I felt I couldn't change it. I need to go to work because I need money, and that was my mentality, and I need to do this job because, but I can't change. I felt powerless. I felt powerless and I felt abused. So my coping mechanism to all of this frustration was overeating, and I was doing it mostly of the time. I observed myself, and I noticed that I was doing it mostly when I was at work. I felt this need of, because when I was at work I felt so constricted and angry, and I felt that I needed to do it when I was at work. And so studying and observing myself from above, and observing the feelings, like my feelings, and how I know that I can't change this situation, so I'm gonna pretend to distract myself with this or with that. And that happens with all of kind of things, sex, random sex, or not to me, but I mean in general, to a lot of people. They cope with different ways. So the best thing that you can do to do this is to don't resist. So don't say, and believe me, I tried so many different things, so I know what I'm talking about. The best thing is to don't resist. So don't say to yourself, oh my god, I'm doing this and I shouldn't do this. You have to watch your thoughts, because even if you're not aware, most of the time you are gonna think, I shouldn't do it, I shouldn't do this, look what I'm doing, look how much I'm eating, look, blah 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 blah, all of these destructive thoughts that are not good for you, because you need to listen to that part. That part of yourself is angry. So I believe the best thing to do is to let yourself do it, because you have to watch the other part. The other part of yourself is stressed, it's frustrated, and if this is helping you to get through and it's kind of keeping you company, it's just do it. Just let yourself do it, but you are aware. The thing that it's changing everything is the awareness. So you are aware that right now, for example, I was eating and I was like, okay, right now I'm eating because I feel stressed and I have all of those thoughts. Okay, I'm gonna let myself eat, I'm gonna enjoy this food. Yes, I'm overeating, but I'm enjoying. This is the first thing that you need to do. The second thing that is super helpful to not make you feel like shit is what you are overeating. So let's say your meal is I don't know, rice with veggies. That was your main meal. that you needed for the day to keep going and for the energy that you spent during the day. The food that you're gonna use to overeating, to coping, you wanna point towards healthy food. So I'm not saying eating like carrots or celery, but for example, for me, the best food to overeat on is fruit, because it's giving you that satisfaction, that glucose to the brain, because our cells, they run 99% on glucose. So if I overeat on rice or veggies or salad, is different when I overeat on dates or fresh fruit. Fresh fruit or smoothies is the best choice for me, because okay, you are overeating and you're gonna feel like full, and the gut is your second brain, so you're gonna feel, and this makes so much sense, right? Because the gut is your second brain. Your second brain is thinking all of those thoughts like, I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't do this shit job, I shouldn't listen to these fucking people, this is a shit system and we need to change this. This is your second brain, the gut, that is trying to tell you all of this stuff, and you wanna, because you think in your brain that you don't have power and you feel powerless and you don't have power to change, and you're like, well, I need to pay the rent, I need to pay food, I need to pay my shit, so I need to work, I need to do this, there's no other way, because you think in a third dimensional way, in a physical way, and it's very limited, so you feel limited. But your true self, your spirit, your soul, call it however you want, knows that it's not like that, but it's just a perception, it's just how you perceive it. So your second brain, to shut that talk, that truth that is trying to communicate to you, you want to distract yourself with food, and you're like, take this, take this, take this, don't tell me this, don't tell me this, take this, take this, take this. That's how it works, at least for me. And be aware what you can do to change the situation. This can happen for work, for a family situation that you are in and that you don't want to be in, for a partner situation that you are in, for somebody at work telling you what to do and you don't want to feel that way. But you have power, so you feel like you don't have power, so you want to control the situation, but you have to be aware that you do have power and you choose every day. For example, my situation, I chose to, I said, okay, I can look for another job. Yes, I'm tired and I don't want to spend my only day off that I have to look for another job and send email, but I can just slowly look for another job, look for another option. And you still do the coping mechanism, the overeating, you can still have it. It's there with you, it's gonna keep you company. Just focus on the healthy food. So for me, the best suggestion of the food choices for overeating would be fruit, sweet fruit, high quality fruit like peaches. If you have trouble digesting, just make sure that you combine properly, if that can help you. But sometimes I don't give a shit, I just eat whatever. And dates is one of the best thing because it has that high glucose content and you feel sweet, and when I eat dates I just feel so good, and it's so good for you, right? So even if you overeat on dates, on rice, on whatever, nothing is gonna happen because it's fiber, and you're gonna just go to the toilet the next day. Maybe you're gonna go once more to the toilet because you have so much fiber in your body, but it's something that you overeat, but oh my legs, but you feel good about it because you know that it's a good thing for you. It's high vibrational food and it's good stuff for you that you can eat and feel good about it. So those are my thoughts about this. And if you have any questions, please, I'm here. And I like to talk about this. I could talk about this shit all day. And yeah, so those are my tips. And don't feel shamed, don't feel, because what you're going through, whatever you're going through, it's you have to, you have to listen to yourself. I approve of what myself is trying to say to me, and I'm like, yes, you're right, this life is fucking crazy. I'm gonna find a way to change it, but while I find a way, I'm gonna allow myself to cope with this shit, because you can't pretend. The scale can't be just you overwork fucking 50 hours and you get paid for 40, and you pretend that you are gonna be just fine. You need to find something that it's balancing. So if overeat makes you feel okay and makes you feel relaxed, and that's your coping mechanism, do it. Allow yourself to do it, because the scale is gonna go like that. It's not gonna be like that. You can't deprive yourself, and especially you feel deprived. That's how I felt. I felt deprived of my freedom, and I felt deprived of my my rights, and so I needed to. And this is the same fucking thing with compulsive shopping. Is the same thing, because I used to have the same problem issue. So the wrong thing I believe about people, how they approach this thing, is that you have a problem. Okay, you have a problem, so you better go to the psychologist or whatever, to talk about your problems. And I remember when I had this overeating, it started a long time ago. It was my coping mechanism, but I wasn't vegan. I wasn't aware about health food and food in general, and how food interacts with body and stuff. I remember I was going to the psychologist, and she was just telling me, okay, she was telling me way to escape my escape mechanism, which is gonna cause crazy shit. So she was telling me, okay, when you feel hungry, maybe just go for a run, distract yourself from the distractions. So go for a run, or take a quick shower, take a cold shower. This is so detrimental for you. It's not good, because you are escaping your escape instead of listening to it. And the method that I suggest, the approach, is to go toward, for example, this is the coping mechanism, this is the eating. You go straight towards, and you look at it in the face, and you're like, okay, I'm here with you. I accept I'm gonna overeat, I'm gonna indulge in this, and at the same time I'm gonna do it, so it's something that is making me feel comfortable. I'm gonna stay with that like a pillow, and at the same time I'm gonna try to understand my emotions and take as much fucking time you need. You're not in a rush. You need time to be with yourself and to understand what your body is trying to communicate with you, and what are the options, because you always have options. What are the options that you can do to change the situation that you are in? The same thing that I did, and I'm not different from anybody. I have a life, I'm living by myself. I have rent to pay, and I'm getting a shit pay, and most of the time I don't arrive at the end of the month. I can't get to the end of the month with enough money. So I am in the same shit, but I am slowly, and I mostly work 6 days a week, like 50 hours a fucking week, and I don't have time even to breathe. And I felt like I'm getting sick, and I felt like this shit, I need to change this. And I'm moving slowly. You always have options towards what you want to do, what you like to do. And I know it sounds just corny and cheesy to say, like, be yourself, just be yourself. It's not easy to be your fucking self in this crazy society. But remember that it's only on the only way to success is to be yourself, is to be who you are, because that's your truth. And when you follow yourself, it's gonna lead you to your success. It's gonna lead you to where you gonna be. Even let's say you want to do something that is not on the fucking job list that the society created, you can create that. Especially today with this media platform that we have, you can be anything that you want to be. And the most important, you remember always that your inner guidance is yourself, it's your feelings. And don't let anybody tell you, I'm talking for personal experience, don't let anybody tell you how you should feel or how you should do things. Always follow your inner intuition. Everybody has that. Don't take fucking antibiotics because that is gonna shut that down for a reason. They want to shut that down for a reason. Okay, that's another video, but yeah, that's my message. So if you have any question, please let me know and drink your green smoothie if you like it. Or eat whatever you want that makes you happy and makes you healthy. Have a good day. Sayonara.